Hi, and welcome to this flipped instructional session. This flipped instructional session is for middle school earth science, and today we'll be covering lessons 1.02 and 1.03, which are spheres of the earth. I am Mrs. Fessel, and welcome. The goal of this flipped lesson is for you to watch this recording before coming to the Class Connect session. Look for the flipped follow-up on your schedule, and I hope to see you there. Our goal for this lesson is to be able to identify the 5 spheres of the earth and then give examples of each. We're going to start out with a story. Consider these events happening each day on Earth. At sunrise, a hippo awakens in the grassy plains of southern Africa. Walking past wildebeests and gazelles, the hippo munches on grass and then wanders to a nearby watering hole. Now, let's imagine this story in a slightly different way, using some vocabulary words from these lessons. As the sun rises over the atmosphere, several animals in the biosphere awaken. A hippo walks along the top of the lithosphere, munches on plants that are part of the biosphere, and takes a drink from the hydrosphere. So from this story, we see many of the terms that we are going to be using in this lesson as seen in this hippo story. So we're going to start with the biosphere. The prefix bio means life. When you take a biology class, you're studying life. So the biosphere has to do with life. And as you know, there's life everywhere. And the biosphere includes all these living things. This means the zebras, the wildebeest, the hippo we just talked about, grass, all plants and flowers are considered part of the biosphere, fungi, and you, because you are living, you're part of the biosphere. And even, as this picture up here shows, the microscopic bacteria and viruses are living, so they're part of the biosphere. All trees and plants, flowers, and animals. Next, we have the hydrosphere. The prefix hydro means water. If you hydrate, that means you're drinking something and you're probably getting some water. So the hydrosphere has to do with water. So all water on Earth, no matter what form it's in, as you can see in this picture down here, solid, liquid, or gas, is part of the hydrosphere. This is a large sphere because water covers 3/4 of the planet. That's why the Earth is often referred to as the blue planet. The U.S. Geologic Survey estimates that there are 326 million cubic miles of water on Earth. A cubic mile is an imaginary cube measuring 1 mile on each side. So, a cubic mile of water is more than 1 trillion gallons. So 326 million cubic miles times 1 trillion gallons in each one is a lot of water. And most of this water is found in the Earth's oceans. But it's also found in fresh water, such as lakes, rivers, and underground. And even water in the air, oftentimes in the form of clouds, is considered part of the hydrosphere. Finally, as in this picture, we also have frozen water that is trapped in glaciers and ice caps at the poles. Our next sphere is the lithosphere. A good way to remember this might be the lithosphere starts with an L, and so does land. So lithosphere is all the land. This is a layer of rock and soil that covers the Earth to a depth of about 100 kilometers, which is 62 miles. So in comparison to the biosphere and hydrosphere, the lithosphere is much deeper. So even though it doesn't cover as much as the Earth, as the water, at least that we can see, it is a lot of the Earth. So this would include dirt, rocks, mountains, valleys, and the land that is underneath the ocean. Next, we have the atmosphere. The atmosphere, another good way to remember this, is atmosphere begins with A, and so does air. The atmosphere has to do with air, and it's the thin layer of gas surrounding the Earth, and that's the air we breathe. There's also tiny particles of liquids and solids, such as dust, smoke, and salt, that are also part of the atmosphere. When Earth is viewed from space, the only part of the atmosphere that you can see are clouds. And as we mentioned, clouds are part of the hydrosphere because they're made of water, but they're in the atmosphere. So we can see how some of our spheres of the Earth are interacting with one another. The atmosphere is really important because it traps energy from the sun, and that's what allows our Earth to be warm enough for liquid water, and therefore plants and animals and us, to exist. It also provides protection from harmful forms of solar radiation, and it burns up tiny pieces of space junk, which become meteors or shooting stars from space. The atmosphere, even though it's difficult to see, is really important. And finally, we depend on it for oxygen and carbon dioxide to live. Last but not least is the magnetosphere, and this is frequently the least thought of sphere because it's very difficult to see. Again, magnetosphere has to do with the magnetic field, so the first prefix of it, magnet, tells us what this sphere is all about. So at the Earth's center is a region called the core. The middle of the core is solid metal, but the outer core is liquid metal. So the liquid metal outer core of the Earth actually acts as a magnetic field, acts as a magnet and creates this magnetic field that we can see in these pictures that surrounds the Earth. So you can't see it. So this top one right here is an artist's image of what this magnetic field coming out of the outer core looks like. And this picture shows how the magnetic field helps protect us by deflecting solar wind around it. So the way you can know that this sphere is here is because of spectacular aurora borealis, which is also known as the northern lights in the northern hemisphere. This happens when charged particles in the magnetosphere interact with the atmosphere, and we get these beautiful colors dancing through the sky, as can be seen here. So that is all of the lesson we have for today. The assignment for this lesson, for lesson 1.03, is this Spheres of the Earth exploration. And this is what we will be working on in the flipped follow-up. So I hope to see you on the flip side. Please look for the flipped follow-up session in your Class Connect schedule, where we'll play some games and work on the assignment from lesson 1.03. I hope you attend the live session to carry this topic into further practice. And if you need help, I hope to see you at a help lab for extra support. As always, have fun learning, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching.